So DDG has been expressing frustration and not being able to see Halo as often as he would like. He said that there's always some type of fight when he tries to see his son. Now, one thing I do know about DDG, that man shows and proves that he is a great dad. So I think that there should be no issue with him seeing his son. Yeah, he always has the cameras in his face, and yeah, that might be an issue, but also he is his father. He does have the right. Now, when people go through a separation, there's always going to be a parent who gets the short end of the stick. In this situation, it just looks like DDG is not being able to see his son as often as he would like, and that's unfortunate. Do I feel like this should be playing out over the internet? No, but that's the day and age that we're in. So I feel like these clips can live on for a long time and that Halo might see it one day. Yes, and they're gonna have to deal with that. People are like, oh, why don't he go to the court? He said he's going to the court, but I think it's okay to vent. It is what it is. I just hope that they get it together for the sake of Halo, because he deserves to be able to see both of his parents whenever and as often as best for him. So hopefully they get it together, but let's not act like DDG is not a good dad, okay?
If I want to come get my son, I should be able to get my son. Plain and simple.
It's not your house.
Today, I wasn't even going to take him out because he's sick. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to just grab my son and go hang out with him. I'm getting kicked out.
You can't just show up at somebody's house unannounced, whether you have a son inside or not. He goes on to say that he drove 3 hours to get there, and when he got there, she turned him away. Before you got in your car and drove 3 hours, why didn't you call her first? You knew she was going to say no. You thought if you showed up, you could put that pressure on her, and it didn't work. You know that every time you beef with Hallie, your streams and your numbers go up. The reason why y'all hid the pregnancy in the first place is because people were already trying to warn her that he may have been the kind of man who would try to use her and the baby for clout. And here you are admitting it.
When I do certain things with my son, I do it on purpose, and it purposely demeans me in a way, because I know that's what people like to see. So if I post my son acting like my breath stank or something like that, I know it always go viral.
Whoever the primary parent is, the other person has to adjust to their lifestyle. You don't get to come in and disrupt nap time or bath time or any other time because today is the day that you want to see your son. Why tell the internet when you could tell the judge? And why not go and get 50-50 custody? Oh, I know. It's because you like the freedom of being able to come and go as you please, but she's supposed to always be home with the back door unlocked in case you drop by. You can't just show up at people's houses unannounced, even if she is your baby mama. If you want more rights, get off of the internet and into a courtroom.
Is DDG a good dad for bringing his custody issues with H. Bailey to the internet? Or is there another way? DDG and H. Bailey's dispute raises a crucial question. How can parents prioritize their child's well-being amidst personal conflict? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Black Tea Podcast. Today, we're diving into a sensitive topic that's been making waves online, the custody dispute between DDG and Hallie Bailey. As always, we'll approach this discussion with a Christian perspective, focusing on the principles of family, responsibility, the importance of resolving conflict privately, and the impact of our actions. I've seen the clips and the commentary surrounding this situation. It's clear there's a lot of frustration and pain on both sides, but what can we, as a community rooted in faith, learn from this very public disagreement? How can we apply biblical principles to understand and navigate such challenges? First, let's talk about the treacherous role of the internet. DDG has taken to social media to express his concerns about not being able to see his child. While I understand his frustration, airing grievances online rarely leads to resolution. In fact, it often exacerbates the situation. As Christians, we are called to resolve conflict privately, seeking wise counsel and mediation when necessary. Social media is not a biblical tool for conflict resolution. It is more likely to incite further attacks and bullying from supporters, as has already happened in this case. The internet also never forgets, and their child may see this one day. This brings me to my second point, the critical importance of responsible fatherhood. Many people online are praising DDG for wanting to be involved in his child's life. And while that is commendable, wanting to be present is only the first step. True fatherhood requires consistent effort, sacrifice, and a willingness to put the child's needs above one's own desires. It means working with the mother, even when there is disagreement, to create a stable and loving environment for the child. DDG seems to feel like a nanny. Ultimately, a father's rights are curtailed the moment he and the mother are no longer in a committed relationship. The father is at the mercy of the mother's decisions. Now, let's prayerfully consider Halle Bailey's unenviable position. She has faced immense public scrutiny and even hatred, particularly after being cast as the Little Mermaid. The internet can be a brutal place, and it's understandable that she would want to protect her child from that negativity. As mothers, women often have a protective instinct, wanting to shield their children from harm. However, co-parenting requires open communication and a willingness to compromise. Some suggest that she may be using the child as a pawn, but it is also not required of her if she is not married to the father of her child. Another crucial issue that we need to address head-on is the foundational concept of respect within families. A wife must respect her husband through loyalty and consideration. Consideration means thinking about how your decisions will impact others. However, in this case, the two are not married, so this standard does not fully apply. This underscores the importance of marriage as a covenantal relationship built on mutual respect and commitment. Next, let's discuss the appropriate and necessary legal avenues available. Several commentators have pointed out that DDG should pursue legal channels to establish his parental rights and create a formal custody agreement. This is sound and practical advice. While going to court can be stressful and expensive, it is often the most effective way to ensure that both parents have clear guidelines and expectations. It allows a judge to make decisions based on the best interests of the child, rather than on fleeting emotions or the pressures of social media. Another incredibly important lesson for us to learn from this situation is about thoughtfully navigating co-parenting relationships after a breakup. Co-parenting relationships can be incredibly complex and emotionally charged. Ideally, parents should strive to prioritize the well-being of their children above all else, shielding them as much as possible from the inevitable conflict. Finally, let's soberly reflect on the potentially devastating long-term impact of these decisions and actions. The raw and unfiltered clips of this painful dispute will likely remain online for years, if not decades, to come. Halo, their child, may one day see these videos and read the often vicious comments. As parents, we must be ever mindful of the messages we are sending and the example we are setting for our children. Our words and actions have far-reaching consequences, not just for ourselves in the present moment, but for the lives and futures of our children as well. As a final word, it must be said that the instability of the parents' relationship is the root of these issues. It is always best to get married before having children. So, what's the ultimate takeaway from this difficult situation? This very public dispute serves as a stark reminder that family disputes should always be handled with the utmost care, discretion, and an unwavering focus on the long-term well-being of the child involved. The often toxic environment of the internet is simply not the appropriate place to attempt to resolve deeply personal and complex family conflicts. Instead, we should consistently seek wise counsel from trusted mentors, pursue appropriate legal avenues when necessary, and always strive to act in a way that honors God, upholds biblical principles, and protects the precious sanctity of our families. It is also a powerful reminder to get married before having children. Thank you for joining me on the Black Tea Podcast. I pray that this discussion has been both helpful and thought-provoking for you. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this video with others in your community. And as always, may God bless you and richly bless your family.